Welcome hunters. In this guide I will talk about progression sets, especially with new content coming out, and if you're still not that rank level 50 or higher, you might miss out on the new content. I will take you through some sets that help you level up more quickly, more damage, more resilience, and getting to those higher level ranks. I'm Saber, let's get into it. First build I just put on is weapon. Really depends on what kind of things you already have. I've got the bone staff here, but I think that you probably have something like a level 5 weapon maybe. So the Princess Regalia is a okay one to use, or you have the Bone Staff 4, which is rarity 6. Really depends if you already get that. So weapons are just a little bit off because you just don't know which kind of equipment and items you already got. Basically, especially the lower levels, the higher the better. If you specifically for endgame weapons, you'll probably go for Artian weapon anyway. Armor is all different. So the basis of these builds, and I do this with all the builds, is that you are not staying around and farming each monster constantly to get all the equipment. While you can do that, and while the possibility is there, my run-throughs and which other people I talk to, they just go from monster to monster, from side quest to side quest to go into hunter rank. You're not waiting to really farm these monsters out. So especially looking at the end of low rank, actually beating Arkveld, I think that while Arkveld armor itself can be pretty good, I think there are better options as well while you move along, which actually gets you to level 15 easier. And starting with the Great Ebony Helmet, gives you 1 level of burst, which is just really good, just ups your damage really well. The Ray Sandmail you get from Ray Dow gives you 1 level of Constitution, which is actually a really good skill for stamina, especially in these early levels. The Suwu Fembraces will give you 1 level of maximum might, some extra damage potential there as well, and really combines really well with the Constitution of the Ray Sandmail. Then we also have the Udra Mirror Coil, which gives you a little bit of resentment. Again, if you're being attacked, you're getting a little bit more attack as well. And finishing it up with the Guardian Rattleos Greaves, which gives you weakness per exploit level 1. So all these skills gives you just a level of damaging extra skills. If you're really struggling with the game, you can also go for maybe items that give you Divine Blessing or give you a little bit more defense, but to be honest, you can also use defensive meal and work your defense up with that. This just gives you a little bit extra damage, gives you faster hunts, basically maybe moving you faster towards the higher rank monsters and getting more gear. So this can be really good setup for you going from low rank to the high rank missions and side quests you have to do to get towards level 40, where you basically unlock most of the high ranking monsters and can really farm that endgame gear you need. As talismans, that is a little bit off because talismans is really, I'm using the fitness charm here, which gives you extra stamina. For my opinion, this is the best bet to go. There are others as well, you can more defensive, but to be honest, the really good talismans you get later on, so I'm just not counting them yet. And here I do the Rocksteady Mantle. If I remember correctly, you don't have the Corrupted Mantle yet, so the Rocksteady Mantle can really help you to reduce damage, so it's really good. You can also see that I do not have any decorations, and the reason why I don't have any decorations in these builds is quite simple. Low level decorations, what you get and how you get them, it really depends on your luck and your RNG. So if I would recommend, especially low level, for instance, I would go for either protection or physique, giving you Divine Blessing or giving you Constitution for extra stamina, and trying to use these kind of extra decorations basically to have a little bit more of defense. The really more damaging and damage increasing decorations can come later in the game. But to be honest, I cannot really say you need to get these decorations because to be honest, I don't know what you're gonna get. Right? It really depends on RNG. Always use decorations though, so if you can, even if you only have those simple dragon resist or ice resist, just use decorations. Don't get about them because they really do matter, right? If you have Divine Blessing, for instance, you just level 1 also already reduces your damage taken by 15% while it's active. So it's really good just to use that. Yeah, I'm not gonna recommend something that I really don't know you're gonna get. So this is just basically my build recommendation for when you're getting out of low rank into the starting of high rank. So what's next? Getting into the level 15, things get a little bit more difficult. Going to rank level 15, things will be getting a little bit more difficult. The monsters will hit a little bit harder. You want to do a little bit more damage. For this, I would say a good build, for instance, here is Matrix Helm B with latent power. Yeah, we want to have more damage. Chatacabra, weakness, exploit is speed eating. Speed eating is actually quite a decent skill to have. Faster eating potions and all that within between fights, which you probably will do a lot. Wompapolo, earplugs. We want to have those earplugs. We want to have those resistances. Matrix Call A version where we have latent power and a bit of fire resistance. Doesn't really matter too much. With the Conga Greaves B, which gives you a 1 level of burst. Overall, giving these power prolonger is really good. We have the boost duration when the power up, which is okay. We have latent power. We have weakness and exploit. We have burst. And I also have the mighty charm here for 1 level of maximum might. It really depends if you have that. Otherwise, go for the fitness charm. Also got fire resistance. Not that interesting, but it's fine to have. Earplugs just reduces the effect of weak monster roar, so helps you a lot. And if you're an insect glaive player, which also really helps here, is that if you have all your extracts, you actually have earplugs level 2, so you're basically resistant to most roars if you have all extracts. And then you have the speed eating. So this is a quite good build, going from level 15 to a little bit of the harder monsters and really getting you going towards that end game and getting those side quests done. Right, getting the first dual monster appearances done and getting that done as fast as possible, so you can really start farming the harder monsters for better gear. Yeah, so I still have the overall, you're going towards these monsters, but you're not gonna farm any one of them. So the Kuramantras here is the only one you might have to kill twice, but the rest you should be able to get right after you defeat them. If you're lucky, if you're unlucky, then yeah, don't blame me. So let's just go for the last progression build. Really good, especially when you get to level 30 and higher, really moving towards already the harder and the end game monsters. By no means I would say challenge level 8 monsters in this build, but it does really well, at least at the Arkveld and the lower level Gormagalas, which actually is your next step up. Starting with the Ardian Glaive. So the Ardian Glaive here is I'm expecting you will probably get rarity 7 weapon parts, where you can basically have the Ardian Glaive level 2. So another thing what I'm going to do is the Fulgur Helm here for Agitator level 2. I go for the Blanjo Mill, also for Agitator level 2, which basically gains you level 4 with these 2 pieces alone. Suwu Vamp Braces, which is a really good endgame armor piece because it has earplugs level 2, but it also has 2 level 2 slots and 1 level 1 slot. It's just really good. Then you have the Guardian Ebony Coil, which actually gives you burst level 1. So yeah, that extra burst is really good. And then you also have the level 2 slot and level 1 slot in there. And as Mitsune comes roughly at level 21 where you can beat her, you can get the Mitsune Greaves and you can basically have that burst level 2. So you have the burst level 2 as well. Following that up with a Chain Charm as well, and you just finish it with Corrupted Mantle. One thing I had to say, so going into the overall decorations, if you have Critical Jewel 2, just put 2 in there, and I put an Expert Jewel in there. You want something else in there, but there is really not something else for that. It really depends. Maybe you can put it in a Sharpness Jewel in there, but it's a bit of, I use Expert just for this specific point, but you can do whatever your preference is. Having this Counter Jewel in, get Counter Strike, just one that gives you 10% when active, when you're being temporarily knocked back. So that's a really good jewel to have. I have mighty jewels in here, so I just want to have maximum might level 3 for a lot of ground-based fighting styles, and Insect Glaive is one of them. Or you can also do airborne attacks, you're mostly on the ground. Maximum might is still a very good skill to have and does really help with improved damage. Here I didn't really have anything else, so I did a little bit of protection in here, basically giving me Divine Blessing and another counter one and a challenger. This goes up to critical boost level 4, critical eye level 1. So Agitate level 5, which is really good, and Burst level 5. So this is really a build focused on Agitator and Burst. And I also do this because wound resistance is getting more and more added within the game. So Weakness Exploit does have diminishing returns a little bit later in the game. So Agitator and Burst does really good damage. It's a really good build. to build around that. Later on, you might want to add a little bit weakness exploit, but for now, actually going in this build towards the lower level Gormagalas or Arkvelds, this is a really good build. But maximum level 3, we got Counter Strike level 2, and we also have Divine Blessing and Air Blocks just to give you that extra defense. I would recommend, especially if you're going in other people's lobbies, actually do defensive meals and your potions as well, defensive potions, just to help with your own defense and you don't die immediately. But this is an overall really good build to go from that level 30 and farming those lower level high tier monsters to get better equipment. Right, because you will probably need to move that better equipment to fight monsters like Soshia to get that kind of gear, because Soshia gear, for instance, is actually very good in late game because it has really good armor pieces with a lot of decorations and a lot of buffs. So that's something you want to aim for. And of course, we also have the Arc-Tempered Raydao, for instance, which gives a lot of good gear, especially later on. And we also have new monsters coming in. So going towards these steps and using these builds really helps you going through that a little bit easier, right? And I think that especially when I was myself running this and didn't really have that much experience with Monster Hunter Wilds, my main issue was I didn't really know how to put these builds together, or what is good and how does it actually add. The game does tell it you when you look for it, but it doesn't really is something that really comes up and like, how do I build these builds really quickly? And that's it. Putting these builds together, I really hope that these builds really help you throughout your journey from low rank to high rank, making it a little bit easier, doing a little bit more damage, and basically having a little bit more fun. Falling over and dying and being carted 3 times really quickly is just not fun, and you want to do damage, maximum amount of damage, and these builds can help you do that. While they're nowhere near to endgame gear, they do help you get there a little bit faster. I hope these builds help. I hope you find them useful. If they do, leave a comment. Subscribe if you want more Monster Hunter Wilds content. And as always, stay sharp. Happy hunting.